Hello, first grade team. I'm going to walk through Unit 5 for Writing Workshop. I am going to try my best to keep this short and sweet, or as short as sweet and sweet as I can, because you've seen the format of these templates before, and because I know your time is very limited. You don't need to spend forever watching a video. With that said, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to Shannon. That's part of her role, and she welcomes and wants questions about these units. Or reach out to me either for understanding the unit or modeling lessons or coaching you through the unit. That is always something that I am more than happy and excited to help you with. I'm going to talk through some of the big points in this unit, but make sure you read over all of these paragraphs. That really helps you understand the unit. We do have our priority and supporting standards listed here, just like we always do. This unit hits our priority standard of using pictures and writing to compose text, because we know from our learning with Matt Glover and also from Katie Wood Ray's book, In Pictures and in Words, that book that you guys got earlier in the year, that our youngest writers compose meaning through illustrations and text together. And then also several editing goals in this unit, including using ending punctuation, which relates to our grade card objective of writing incomplete sentences using correct punctuation. Here are the other standards that are hit in the unit. The primary goal of this unit is to notice the techniques authors use and to try those techniques out in their writing. So in your mini lessons, you need to really focus on modeling that process of reading like a writer. So as you're reading the mentor text, noticing, hey, Benji Davies used capital letters here, and then I'm going to try to use that technique, capital letters, to impact how my writing sounds in my own writing. So having your own teacher or mentor text during this unit is going to be really important. So what does that mean? That means that we're just looking for you to have a stapled book, just like your kids would have, and you have your own writing, and then modeling that process for the kids. If you have not dove into that yet of having your own teacher mentor text, that is totally fine. This is a learning process, and it's something we're giving grace to teachers on this year. So, but I would highly encourage you to do it. It's going to be super impactful and important in this unit because it's going to be, you're going to have limited impact on kids if you just model the reading like a writer, but then you don't try it out in your own writing, because that's what we're wanting them to do. So that's what we need to model ourselves. So we have a writing habit goal of reading their own writing to be sure it sounds like what's on the page. So what we're looking for there is that they're just reading their own writing out loud. And if they want a particular part to be where the character is excited, then they should probably have an exclamation point at the end of their sentence. Just a reminder, we have those writing habit goals because we are working towards, as a district, not just caring about the writing that our kids do, but the writer that our kids are. And becoming a good writer means that you have good writing habits. That's why all these new units have writing habit goals. Community of writers goal, that's new for us as well. So remember, that's about building our community and knowing that writers get better by using other writers. And so in that, they're going to be working with a peer and having their peer read their writing to make sure it sounds like they want it to. We have a revision goal and then an editing goal of looking at the ending punctuation. Again, that grade card objective. You do have your rubric right here. We are asking you to copy this rubric at the beginning of the unit. You need one of these for each one of your students. So I know that some of us have not dove into that yet. And again, showing grace with that this year. It's a tough year, guys. It's just a tough year. So please hear me when I say we are showing grace with that. But if you have not dove into printing rubrics off at the beginning of the unit, I would definitely encourage you to do that, because with this approach, we're really looking at preponderance of evidence, which is something really first grade teachers are used to doing anyways. It's kind of your life in first grade. But you're looking at, do they implement these things throughout the unit, not just in one piece at the end of the unit. So on this one of the two goals, we're only assessing two things in this unit, is using punctuation and other techniques. I'll talk about other techniques in a minute, to impact how their writing sounds. And we're looking for them to use at least 6 of these. These right here are all things that are taught within the unit, and we want them to use at least 6 of them sometime in the unit. And then the grade card objective, right here using ending punctuation mark, you'll be assessing that as well. Let's see, we have mentor texts that are used right here. These right here have been purchased for you because they are the ones that are actually used in the unit. Not that you can't use other ones if you want to. You always have the opportunity to do that. But these are the ones that we have purchased for you. And then there are suggested ones that, especially for the immersion day, you might look at some of these suggested ones. Or you can pull whatever you want to for your immersion day as well. With mentor texts, I would definitely encourage you to try to read those mentor texts before the unit starts. So maybe when you come back in January, if you're working on PBIS routines and writing workshop doesn't look totally like it normally does the first couple of days, you could use those days reading some of these mentor texts, especially in first grade, because we have such limited amount of time of writing workshop, which is not your guys' fault. But we have such limited amount of time, we have to do things to keep our mini lesson mini. And if we're reading the book in the mini lesson, but then also going back and looking at it to read like a writer, to notice the techniques, that's going to make that mini lesson too long. We need to protect our conferring and our strategy group time. So that means we have to keep mini lessons short. So definitely read those mentor texts before the unit starts if you can. I totally understand that's easier said than done. Key conferring questions. As you confer with kids, you're asking them, what have you done in your writing that affects how your writing sounds? And there are some other options there as well, but that is the main thing that we're looking for in this unit. Remember, with conferring, though, it is not just the primary goals of the unit or the secondary goals. You need to meet your kids where they're at. So if some of your kids are still working on writing complete sentences, you can have conferences and strategy groups on how to write good sentences. It wouldn't be only that, because you still want to work on the primary goal of the unit, but you can also have that in some of your conferences and strategy groups. All this is the same, possible conferring points, anticipated issues that you've seen in other units, and then these are your projected lessons. You start with that immersion day. In that immersion day, you're going to be reading Tad by Benji Davies, really modeling reading like a writer and noticing what he does in his writing. And there are some things we mentioned here that impacts how his writing sounds. That could be ending punctuation marks, exclamation points, question marks, things like that. It could also be ellipsis. It could be capital letters. It could be bold letters. It could be, sometimes you see letters like stretched out in words, like in roller coaster. Marla, I think I don't know how you pronounce her last name, Frazee, I'm not sure. But she has the word slowly and she has S-L-O-, you get it, like it's stretched out. It could be that. So anything that you notice that he did that impacts how the reader reads the book. So could be a name punctuation mark, could be other things. Make sure that when you are using a mentor text, that you refer to the author as, you refer to the author's name. So for example, when you're reading Tad by Benji Davies, you could say to your kids, and we hope that you say to your kids, you could be just like Benji Davies. You could be just like this author, and you could use capital letters that impacts how your reader reads your book. Why do we do that? It sounds so simple, but it is so powerful because it allows your kids to see authors as real people that they can connect to. And then when they start to connect to those authors, they start seeing themselves as actual authors. And that's what we want for our kids. We want them to know that they are authors too. And so that's what we're going for there. The first several lessons do focus on just ending punctuation mark, which is a focus in first grade. And it also focuses on some grammar things, including using simple and compound sentences. Those are taken directly from the first grade Missouri Learning Standards. I know that grammar is a challenge for us, so we're trying to embed those within the units as we can. But then it gets into those other techniques that you can use that impact how your writing sounds. For example, some authors leave space in between sentences, and they actually want you to pause in between that space. Capital letters, we talked about that. Bold words, stretched out words, we've talked about all those different font sizes. So again, part of this unit is ending punctuation. Part of it is other techniques authors use to impact how their writing sounds. And then, of course, we have the celebration at the end, just like we always do. So I think that is it. If you guys do have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Again, we are here to help you. We'd rather you ask than either struggle or not understand where we were coming from with these units, especially because not everybody was involved in writing the units. It's hard to read these units and then see really what was intended, especially if you're confused or not knowing or not understanding some sort of mindset shift. So please don't hesitate to reach out to Shannon. We're all busy, but Shannon wants to help, and I want to help as well. So, again, utilize this as you need to. All right, guys, thanks.